Okay, we are streaming on YouTube. So let's just keep that stream going. Now remember, if you're a member and you come into the trade room, there's no latency. On YouTube, the trade's over well before the trade is over in the trade room, well before it's over on YouTube. There's a lot of latency. Sometimes it could be as much as 10 seconds. Arthur, I was just saying Nitin was correct about the way he was looking at slippage. Slippage comes after your orders are entered. It has nothing to do with current price. That's all. It's just that simple. That's all. Um, Now, you guys, who's an expert on our trader? Who's an honest expert on our trader? Yesterday, I just want to know if there's no working orders. Aren't there no working orders? Because yesterday, after my Palantir trade, I went into our trader and checked to make sure there were no working orders, no orders hanging, and I got an email that they closed my master account that just made money and they didn't give any reason, nothing. And now the account is completely gone. I can't look at previous orders. I'm just, I already am not a happy prop trader to begin with. I love it and I hate it. But I'm waiting for my ticket to be answered. I looked, I didn't see any open orders. That's the only reason that they could have turned it off, terminated the account, is that there was a hanging order and it didn't exit at the right time. And I swear that I checked 3 times, but I am far from an expert on our trader. I don't use the platform other than to host Ninja. And is it, just forgetting everything for a minute, is it fair? Understanding also that there is no fairness in life, and I totally understand what the reality of life is. There is no fairness. But is it fair that they give us the Ninja platform to use, but they don't honor the behavior of the Ninja platform? It's insanity. It's insanity. And I don't like it. I don't like it. And there's nothing I can do about it. All right. So we have an oil trade. Again, we're making a new high. All right. Making a new high. Because very simply, you can close all orders on Ninja, and it doesn't necessarily mean they were closed in our trader. And that's my whole point, Arthur, that the software and the technology doesn't work properly. Let's and the data feeds stink. They stink. All right? The data feeds stink. Anyway, but you agree to use it, so you agree to use it. So I'm going to put on a reverse continue on oil. If you go to a gas station and put in the wrong gas and the gas station had the wrong gas in the wrong tanks, insurance will pay for your damaged car. I'm going to do a reverse continue. You might have to fight him and get an insurance adjuster because life is not fair. One contract, 20 ticks, 20 ticks stop. Now, the account that got closed was struggling. I'll be the first to admit that, but I just made a $300 winning trade, bringing that account back over 49. So it was making a comeback. So I'm not pleased. Uh, our stop is 20 ticks. Yeah, good luck with that, right? Stop is 20 ticks. The target is 20 ticks. What they'll probably do is give me an eval back, but I want my master account back. I want it back. I want it back. Position. One contract for reverse continue on crude, 20 tick target, 20 tick stop. So I can't trade it in my crude open account funded anymore. So I'll trade it in my new funded account because I did get a new funded account. I have to make a video on that. You all watched when we did our earnings the other day. So I'm working on a video. I'd like everybody to watch my recent video and tell me if you like the special effects that I'm now overdoing because of AI. I just would love some feedback on my recent email. If you like the videos or if I'm being too silly. I'm going to label this CL reverse continue. And I'm going to apply it and OK it and make sure that the trade is on. And then I'm going to put on our regular range trade, but I'll load the template. I'll load the template. So I'm looking for oil
In 10 minutes
new
time now
open.
at 8:55 a.m. Eastern Time, we get the US Red Book year over year, where the prior was 7.1%.
And I'm going to right click it and rename it February 3rd, today's date. When you load it, it saves the new version. You did not like the background music of the last one, of the webinar. I got to go back and listen to it. I don't remember what I used. All right, our oil range trade. Oil range trade. We're going to start the range at 8:59. And I don't mind the feedback, folks. Please, you're not going to hurt my feelings. I want the feedback. And when it comes to music, though, everybody has such different feelings. It's hard to come to a consensus. Range start time is 8:59. Ticks above and below the range are 1 on both. And we're going to show the range graphics on chart. I'm only trading one contract on oil. That range ends at 90040. 90040. The position, just trading one contract for a 20 tick target. My stop is 20 ticks. And if the market moves 12 ticks in my favor, 10 ticks in my favor, move the stop to 8. X is 8. So if the market moves 10 ticks, move the stop to 8. Break even plus 8. So that's my one contract trade on the range trade. I still want to see how this oil trade is doing, whether it's back or not. All right, whether it's back or not. Yeah, I don't like taking longs at the high, Francis, to be honest. I don't like taking longs at the high. In general, as a general rule, I'd rather have room to move to a high or a low. I prefer having room to move. That to me is important. But I have screwed up so many of these trades all week. I'm just either going to let it trade or I'm not going to trade it. That's my approach today. I'm letting it trade. If it takes me in long, I will be prepared to reverse, however, if it doesn't work and I get a short signal. That's what I will be willing to do. if there seems to be momentum on the opposite side. Now, it is starting to pull back a bit. So it's a range trade. The range ends at 90040. The normal trade is two positions, a target of 8 and a target of 20. A 1 contract is position 1 equals 1. Target of 20. Stop of 20 on both setups. If I trade 2 contracts, I use the target 1 stop move, BE minus 4. It moves the stop to break even minus 4 if the first target gets hit. Otherwise, I use if the market moves 10 ticks, automatically move my stop to break even plus 8. That's a little bit close to the current price. It actually makes more sense to make that 8 a 6 so that if that move occurs, you won't get taken out of the trade immediately. So it actually makes sense to be a little bit less greedy and move the target
US
a
Trade
little bit
Representative
further
Greer
away
currently speaking on
from the
CNBC.
price.
It says
So
the
if
India
there's a
trade
little
deal
pop
announced
up or
yesterday is
down,
the result of
like
talks.
what happened to me on Monday, I don't know if you remember, but Monday it hit the target and I was out of the trade in a nanosecond. And that was because the market moves and the move stop to break even
USTR's
were
Greer
too
confirmed that
close to
India
each other. So
agreed to reduce
I'm
tariffs
actually
on
going
US
to try it
exports.
to 5 today. If the market moves 10 ticks,
In 5 minutes'
move
time
my
now at
stop to break
8:55
even
a.m.
plus
Eastern Time, we
5.
get the US Red
If
Book
the
year over
market
year,
keeps
which
going
saw
in
a
your
prior read of
favor,
7.1%.
then you should get an opportunity to be able to move your stop to safety and trail if it's going in your favor. If your target is so close to the current price, then you don't get an opportunity to manage the trade. The range start time is 8:59, 1 tick above, 1 tick below. So let me clarify that once more. End the range at 90040. Position 1 is a 1. Target is 20. Stop is 20. If the market moves 10 ticks, I'm going to move my stop to BE plus 5 ticks.
USTR's Greer says
And this
trade
is
industrial goods
a
tariffs
true
will go to
concept for
0
any
from
trade
13.5%.
in which you use the market move feature. The market move feature was designed for a 1 contract trade generally. Now, a secret piece of information about that break even X ticks. That break even X ticks also controls the break even button that shows up at the top of most trades. Notice there's a BE button at the top of my chart. That BE button was turned on with the reverse continue. See, when I turn off the reverse continue and turn it back on, we have break even and combine. Those two buttons are part of most trades. Combine combines multiple orders into one position. But the break even button is default to break even plus 1 tick. That's the default. But what if you wanted break even plus 4 ticks? So you can use right above if the market moves. Right above if the market moves, move stop, break even, X ticks. If that's a 5, that controls the break even button at the top of the chart to break even plus 5. So that's a piece of information most people don't know. I didn't know it until the programmer told me he did that. It was something he didn't tell me he did, and I never knew about it. It's kind of crazy, but true. Now I'm watching YM again. YM. I'm tempted to go to just a YM range trade on the open. Langford's been having very good success on a YM range, but I like the magnets also. Looking at the YM on a 15-minute chart,
And Greer says there's a lot of opportunities for India to diversify
I
supply
feel there's
into
not
more
really
US products.
a big trending situation on the YM today. If we go back to a little bit longer chart, there was a very bullish move yesterday after news, right? We went through some news, ISM, the markets loved it. And then the YM really has been pretty much consolidating overnight. It made a new high, it made a new low. It's a little bit towards the low this morning, but no phenomenal, crazy trend. So basically, that just tells me a magnet. I don't mind our magnets. First, I'll put on a reverse continue like we always do. And I'll put a couple of contracts. We'll go for a 35 target. We'll go for a 35 stop. Reverse continue. Label it YM.
Says Supreme Court tariffs case is not open and shut for the plaintiff.
And then I'll trade it in a prop account. Tomorrow's the last day of the Bullinox sale.
Of censorship to comply with the EU.
Let me look at account number 32 and see where it's sitting. It's down about $575 from where it was when we first started. That's fine. So I'll use that account for today, number 32, for my normal trades. We'll put our magnet on. And I'm working on the final issues with the programmer. I think we're 10 days away still, though. High of day, low of day. High of day, low of day. YM. And I'm just trying to decide. I'm going to use a 50 tick stop. Proximity's 3. I think I'm going to put a second position on for the YM, and our second target will be 15 ticks through the magnet, through the high or through the low. So let me go over that. High of day, low of day is the trade. Proximity's 3. Proximity doesn't matter. We're going to move the orders anyway. Position 1 is a 1. Position 2 is a 1. Target 1 is default, -3. Target 2 is 15. And the stop is 50. That's my magnet. Going to label it YM magnet. And we'll trade that in the same prop, 32. Apply it and OK it. Turn it on. When you turn on your magnet, you get your orders. So I'm going to move them down a little bit. I want to exit above 80, enter above 80 on the YM. And on the short side, we're entering around 465.
I see signals of a manufacturing boom.
A little bit bigger, 469. As long as it's below the 6 p.m. open. All right. We've got VWAP signals taking place, and they were very good this morning. I like our signals. I'm just fixing one thing. There's one bug that's serious that I got to get the programmer to fix. And it's important, or I would release the software tomorrow. Because it's pretty much ready. It's pretty much ready. We do have a very good webinar, Festival of Traders, March 3rd. I was thinking that might be a perfect release date, but it's a little far away. So maybe we'll do a pre-release 2 weeks before that. and an official release March 3rd. So pre-release for everybody here and official release March 3rd. That's my feeling. That's what I'm looking at. So I'm watching YouTube. So yesterday we had a very nice Palantir trade. Um, Langford, after Palantir, Langford is quite an expert on earnings. He trades a lot of extra ones, and he really gives us great heads up as to some new ones to look at. NXPI, he traded. In the current market, any tech company that has billions in revenue, has a stock price over 100, and is involved in chips, memory, storage, those are good earnings to look at, even if it's a company we never looked at.
The effective Fed fund rate is unchanged at 3.64% on February
Oil
2nd.
is opening right now. There's the oil open. I'd like the range to stay small.
So seeing ECB bond holdings here. They settled 244.7 billion euros in corporate bond purchases, 1.85 trillion euros in public sector bond purchases, and holdings under PEPP are at 1.42 trillion euros as of last week.
David, give me a second. I'll give it to you.
Order submitted.
Okay, so
Order submitted.
we're filled short.
To the EU to offer a US critical minerals partnership to counter China. So again, EU to offer US critical minerals partnership to counter China.
There you go. If you don't mind using our code, it would be awesome. If not, no problem.
The ECB notes the
That's
forex
the
reserves
code.
rose 200 million euros to a total of 332.3 billion euros.
%. So if now the stop has to be above the range. Here's the problem with this. Okay, so I moved my orders and they're frozen. Now they're unfrozen. This is a problem
Some more
trade.
information there is the
This is a
European
problem
Union
trade,
pushed the
this
US for
oil
a
trade.
critical minerals partnership
First of
to
all, it's
curb
gone the
China's
wrong
imports,
direction
during the
immediately.
Trump administration's push to strike
Secondly,
a global agreement this
your
week.
stop,
So
it
the
really
EU is
has to
prepared to
be
sign a
above the high of the
memorandum of
day.
understanding
It's
with the
got to be
US to
above the high
develop a
of the day.
strategic partnership roadmap
And
within 3 months,
I
according
think
to
there's no
Goldman
question
Mather. The partnership
we're
aims
on
to
the wrong
jointly
side of
find
this
ways to
trade.
source critical minerals
I'm on the
become
wrong
needed
side of this
for
trade.
most modern technologies without relying on China,
I'm
as the US
extremely
and the
concerned
EU
about
have
it.
become tethered to abundant, cheap
But
Chinese
I don't
critical
want to take
minerals,
all that
giving
risk
Beijing
this
leverage
morning.
over
It's
their
like
supply chain.
$300, $400 in risk on one trade that hasn't been working. I'm sorry I traded it in my funded account. That was stupidity. That's where my original stop would be. I may just let it take the original stop. This is a trade that it's absolutely on the wrong side.
Order
I'm
filled.
closing that trade. I'm closing that trade,
Order
and
submitted.
I'm going to take a long for the test of the high. And my stop is just going to be under the market structure. So I gave back my Australian profits from last night, $110 plus $40 more. Signals are up. And if I'm wrong again on this, I'll probably take a break from this oil trade for the rest of my life. The problem, Larry, I know you made money on it this morning, but it doesn't work. The breakout generally doesn't work. That's the honest truth. It generally does not work. 9 times out of 10, the breakout on oil, there is no breakout. There just isn't. So here's another oil trade that just, it's not finding steady directions. That's the problem. Now, the YM, do you want to let the YM fill early? I would let the YM fill early for a test of the low.
The German 30-year bond yield climbs to its highest level since
I
2011.
generally let my YM magnets trade in the morning. Sometimes they ding me. But now I have to get ready for the MNQ. So I'm shrinking my oil chart at the moment. And I'm looking for an extra MNQ chart. I have one somewhere. Okay, so we'll turn this into an MNQ. On the YM, I think I do prefer getting filled a little bit closer to the open. But I'm going to let it trade. I am going to let it trade. So we have our MNQ chart here. First thing I'm going to put on my MNQ chart is a reverse continuation. A couple of contracts, a 40-tick target, 75-tick stop. MNQ. And we have our market open MNQ funded account, MNQ reverse continue. Okay, so that we have a setup. All right. I'm not liking oil even slightly. I've never been an oil trader. And I'll be honest, folks, this is probably our last week on oil open. It's just not working well. It's not working well. I don't like it. I don't like the trade even when it works.
Order filled.
Okay, so I got most of my money back. I lost on the first trade. Look, we had good signals to cancel the trade, get out, and go for a test of the high. It made sense. It made sense. And it worked. But it doesn't make me like the trade any less or any more. I don't enjoy trading oil at the open right now because it's very complicated. I don't want so complicated. It's too hard to make money on it right now. Now maybe it's me. I'm not the world's greatest trader. I admit that. I like a good, steady setup. I like a good, steady setup. All right.
Order submitted.
Okay, we're getting filled on the YM. You got to be on the right chart. Very important to be on the correct chart so you see your orders. Okay. So if we get a continued downward move on the YM, we will have our magnet work. It'll work. It'll fill. All right. So I'm done with oil. So we lost, I was up 110. I'm now up 85. I lost 150 on the first trade. Closed it early. All right. So we made about 130 on this trade. Tops. Tops. Either way, at least I didn't give back all of my Australia. So oil, I'm done. Not going to take another trade on oil, a scalp or a trend trade. So oil is done. So we can put that chart away and just go back to our normal chart setup for the market open. Now we are going to stick around for the world's most difficult report in the history. No, it's not in our history, but currently one of the most difficult reports to trade. That would be Jolts. That be Jolts. Graybeard makes a very good point. Graybeard on YouTube says something that we've known for years on the oil storage report. I don't know. It seems for the last year or so, technical analysis just does not work out on oil. So one of the issues with oil, it's very, very sensitive to daily news, to what's going on in the world. If there's ships around Iran, it affects the price of oil. So the technical analysis often gets overruled by what's happening in the world. Yeah, we'll check that, Larry. They may not have a JOLTS trade. Um, and I would not mind that a bit. It's an awful trade. It's a really difficult report to trade. Let's do a little bit of a dive on that. Let's finish setting up our MNQ. So MNQ, we've got our reverse continue. All right, simple, no big deal. Now we put our breakout on, news trader, breakout. I'm going to load my template for the MNQ, new open. MNQ new open. It's dated February 2nd. We're going to right click it and rename it to February 3rd. Load her up. And we've got trigger at 929.59, 929.59, bracket of 40. I've got a couple of contracts. I never tell you the number of contracts
Order
I'm
filled.
trading because risk is up to you. All right, risk is up to you. Our YM trade worked, so I'm moving my stop to break even. I don't care if it gets stopped. It's break even. I'll take another trade on the open if I have to. Otherwise, see, I don't think the price movement is that exciting, so I'm moving my second target up for another test of the low, and I'll trail it a little bit with each move, each tick move. All right. We'll go for a test of the low. It never broke the low. I think at the open it'll break the low. There might be a second trade at the open. Getting back to the MNQ, we have our breakout 929.59, bracket of 40, target of 30, target of 100, 125 tick stop, break even on target 1 stop move, break even, target 1 stop move. Trading it in our market open funded account, and it's already labeled. We can certainly check the brackets by setting the time to 0. I'll do that in a minute. I just want to watch our YM trade. Let's check on Jolts. Is Jolts being released today? And our government is a disgrace to humanity. A disgrace to humanity. No Jolts today. No Jolts. It should be a law that the government cannot shut down. And it
Order
should be a
filled.
law. All right, so just a small profit on the YM. Small profit on the magnet on the YM. Because it chopped. It looked like it was going to chop, honestly. So right now, on the YM, I'm going to turn. It automatically puts
This is
itself
from
on
Politico
off. That
reporting on
means
X.
it
The House
will
Republican
take
leaders are still trying to
signals.
wrangle several remaining
It'll
Republican
show
hardliners for the
signals.
funding package rule today, according to sources. Leaders think they will get it there. The quote is, "We'll have the votes," from Speaker Johnson telling Politico.
Mike Johnson is, I don't think a true word ever came out of that guy's mouth. Uh, our government is such a disgrace. We basically don't have a government. It's just a bunch of unbelievably ignorant people who are allowed to make all the rules now. And you know, we get what we deserve. We get what we deserve. But I think there's some big changes coming. We did get that move through the low. We did get the move through the low. There is no jolts. All right. There is no jolts. So we will be done after the open. So sometimes if you're too aggressive with your stop, you'll leave your profits on the table. We left our profits on the table. Putting the time on 0 on the NQ. Time on 0. Putting the software on sim so we could check our bracket management for the trade. To test the bracket management for the trade. So the software account goes to sim momentarily, because that's how you check brackets. When time
Order
is
submitted.
0, your brackets show up. All right.
Order canceled.
The other thing I want to do is turn off the vertical line. Show vertical line on entry. Uncheck it. Apply it and OK it.
Order submitted.
And now it's not in the way, making a little bit of a mess. AMD is decent.
Order
Decent.
canceled.
It can be good. I think it's been better lately because AMD has become much more important. They've become much more important than they used to be. Decent to good, Calvin. Decent. They release on time generally. So there's definitely good things about that trade. It doesn't explode to the level that some of the others explode to. You know, it's not a United Health, it's not a Palantir. There's something about it. It's been tougher to trade over the years, a little bit more inconsistency in the way that it moves. All right, checking our MNQ, we checked our strategy, we checked our brackets. So now what you have to do is put the time back to 9:29, and you have to also put your account back on the software account that you're trading. If you're testing your charts on Sim, right? You're testing your charts on Sim. You want to put your account back onto the account you're trading and update your chart trader. So it goes to our market open funded account for the MNQ. There is no NFP on Friday. Yeah, talking about AMD, Roz, yes. There is no jobs report on Friday. There's no jolts today. And, the government is a filthy disgrace. That's the truth. It's a disgusting disgrace of incompetent people who should be coaching football and not being in the government. It's a disgrace. No NFP Friday. I mean, they all have concierge healthcare. Concierge healthcare. If a member of Congress has a serious health problem, you think they have trouble getting through to their doctor on the phone? I don't think so. No, but they deny regular people food and health benefits every day of the week. This has to stop. All right, so we've got 9 minutes for the market open. 9 minutes. Looking at the news reports this morning, what could be impacted by the shutdown. Now, ADP is a private report. That should come out tomorrow. That should come out. Will it be tradable with gold? We'll see what tomorrow looks like. I don't think we can use our normal setup. I don't think you can use. I mean, we have a reasonably big bracket on ADP, but that's a private report, should not be affected by the shutdown. And actually, ISM Services, it's the Institute of Supply Management. That's not a government report. That should come out. That should come out. So crude oil might be impacted, but that's a report that's not even worth having a trade room anymore. I just haven't been able to not have a trade room for crude oil, but it's unworthy. It's truly unworthy. The European news will come out, unemployment at 8 o'clock. That trade room is on its last legs, honest. Natural gas is a government report. So, very honest, just speaking about what's left this week. So, AMD I'll trade. All right. AMD I will trade. Jolts is a disaster trade. There's not a single instrument that we have, and I mean um, the yen, the euro. There's not an instrument that moves consistently on jolts currently. ES moves like crazy. Gold moves like crazy. Many instruments move like crazy. NQ. But it's been the most inconsistent report, one of the most inconsistent reports we've ever seen. And 60 to 70% of the time, jolts trades with another report. ISM, other 10 o'clock reports, CB Consumer Confidence. It doesn't trade by itself more than half the time. So it's very hard to come up with a setup when events do that. So I don't mind looking for magnets around jolts now. That will be the approach. It's not a tradable breakout. It really hasn't been for quite a while. What we have left, if ISM Services comes out, that's been a very nice trading report. RTY and MNQ, if my memory serves me well. Google is not a good earnings report. Historically, it's never been great. Qualcomm releases 3 seconds after the market close. It's pretty much untradeable because of that. The British and the main refi rate are at best medium quality events. They just never been great events, those two. Tradable, yes, not cash trading events. Amazon should be a great one. Amazon's a winner. Love Amazon. Love Meta when it's not trading with 4 other earnings like it did last week. Meta, I love when Meta trades by itself or just trades with one other company. What we don't want are 4 major FANG stocks, what we used to call the FANG stocks, all trading together. The jobs report, it's really not a family money trade anymore. I was going to take that off. That's because most of us can't trade bonds. It's a family money trade on bonds. But as of late, it's really not a family money trade anymore. I'm kind of glad that it's going to be delayed. It'll probably be delayed a week. I'll update it. I would not call it a family money anymore. Just looking at some extra testing this week. And preliminary University of Michigan. It's been a tough trade, not a consistent. So many reports have been inconsistent for a long time. We've gone through a very difficult period for breakouts. So I like having magnets for after the news. But that's the rest of this week. ADP, the other issue for ADP is they've watered down that report by releasing those idiotic ADP weekly reports. They think that that it's so important they can now have a weekly report. So they've completely destroyed their monthly report that used to have meaning. And I think they're just making themselves virtually meaningless in the jobs report market. They should go back to monthly only. An ADP weekly report was fine when the government was shut down. That made sense. End it now while you have the opportunity and just go back to your weekly report. That's my analysis of what we've got going on this week for the rest of the week. All right. So Amazon is an absolute yes. It's a cash trade. It's a funded account trade. Market opens. Everybody's kind of like doing their own thing almost on market opens. And I really blew the YM this morning. The API report, David, the API report, for whatever reason, has almost completely stopped having any response at all to the news. It used to be an amazing report. It used to be almost as good as the Wednesday 10:30 storage report. It used to move 40 and 50 ticks 2 seconds after the news was released. Now it's not even worth looking at. We don't even have a trade room for it anymore. And I'm going to probably tell my boss not to make DMMs for it anymore. If you look at the DMM for today, It didn't have a single winning trade in 6 weeks, and it didn't move more than 7 ticks in the past 6 weeks on the report. It's totally not worth trading. So I missed the best trade. I just was too conservative on my target for the YM. So I'm just going to watch the YM open this morning. We made a couple of bucks, not much. So just trade the MNQ open and see how that goes. And that's what we got going today. That's the truth. Sometimes you can go through a week where there's not a lot of phenomenal things going on. You do your opens. You can make some money on the opens.
1 minute now until we get the markets on open
Earnings.
balance.
Sometimes a week is slow. Sometimes there's just not great opportunities. It happens. Now, in a situation like this, I'm not taking a long signal before the open, okay? It may have been a valid signal, but it was only valid for a second because it's now invalid by a red momentum bar.
Ten seconds.
Order submitted.
Okay, there's our orders.
Order
Markets on
submitted.
Open imbalance. S&P 500
Market opened
flat,
down,
Nasdaq
Order
100
failed.
Sell side at 6 million.
Order
Dow 30
failed.
and it
buy
was a
side 63
quick,
million. Mag
a
70
very
sell side
quick
23 million.
target one. Very quick target one winner. YM, complete change in direction like instantly. Looks like the YM is going to go for a test of the high, doesn't
Order
it?
submitted.
Frozen orders. I can't even speak anymore. Frozen orders on the YM. Was just going first, going for a whatchamacallit, a scalp. So now I have to go to my Rhythmic, right? And trade in Rhythmic, which is absurd. Absurd.
So just keep in mind, in less than 10 minutes time now, at 9:40 a.m. Eastern time, Fed's Bowman, that's the
Frozen
vice chair for
orders.
supervision, is due to be
It's
participating
so
in a moderated conversation at the
aggravating
Wall
and
Street Journal
annoying.
Invest Live event. No indication whether there will be a text, but there certainly will be a Q&A with a moderator.
So give me a second. Give me a second. That chart is completely frozen. I wouldn't dare take a short for a test of the low. Wouldn't dare. So I need to reboot my Ninja platform using the task manager. It's the only way I can get out. All right. I have no other way I can get out of Ninja. So I'll reboot my Ninja.
Mexico's President Sheinbaum says that Mexico is willing to mediate in the US-Cuba dispute.
Rebooting Ninja. And now, just looking at what the data did, it looks like if you could get into Bullinox, which I can't log in at the moment, It looks like that would have been a winning trade because the orders were placed. All right. The orders were placed. They should have been filled in the background. Okay. They should have been filled in the background because they were placed. But now I'm not even able to log in to Bullinox. Is anybody else having trouble logging in to the data?
US
Now I'm
listed
in.
shares of gold miners
Okay,
rise
now I'm
as
in.
gold prices jump
And
5.6%.
it's up $700. So I'm going to
Order filled.
close the trade with $1,000 profit on my Bullinox trade. Did everybody just see what happened here? So I have this all on video. I have this all on video. I made $1,000 trading the open on Bullinox because they had a data failure. What do I mean they had a data failure? I was just simply trying to put on a two contract continuation trade. Okay. A two contract continuation trade. You know, Roz, it doesn't cheer me up. It just makes me more upset, to be honest. Uh, yeah, I wasn't able to log into our trader. So, of course, Lena, thank you. I will check my
In
R
5 minutes
trader.
time now at 9:40 a.m. Eastern Time, Fed Vice Chair for Supervision Bowman is due to be participating in
I
a
will check
moderated
my R
conversation at
trader.
a
And
Wall
while
Street
I'm
Journal
talking,
Invest
I'll
live
check my
event.
R trader now.
Text is still to be determined, but a Q&A with the moderator is expected.
So I think that I know what happened yesterday. I think I know what happened. Now, I don't know anybody who actually trades with our trader. I don't know anybody who trades with our trader. I know everybody uses our trader to check and see if you have extra orders, right? If something goes wrong with the data when you're using NinjaTrader, which happens how many times a week? 5, 6 times a week? Data failures occur. Happens all the time. Happens in particular if you trade market opens, closes, fast times of market movement. But it's still, if you can't trade normal times of day that traders want to trade, they should not allow trading during that time. Maybe the platform shouldn't even allow trading. If they can't guarantee data integrity regularly, maybe they shouldn't allow trading during certain times of day, for real. Not just putting it in the rules, but not allowing it. But it has reached ridiculous, ridiculous levels of data failure. Look at this video. Look at this video. Let me show you the video. You tell me if we did anything wrong from a trading standpoint. Let me save our video. As a trader, did we do anything wrong that you shouldn't be expected to be able to do as a trader? So watch. Watch. We traded the oil open and we traded the US open. Let's take a look at our video. Now, if you all think that I'm an unreasonable person, speak up. Tell me. I'm not a baby. I can take anything you can say to me. I can take it. I've seen it all. I've been there, done that. You know, I've been doing this for 9 years. I've lost a fortune live and I've made a fortune live. All I was doing here, folks, the market opened. We made a little bit of money on the YM before it opened. Our NQ trade operated fine. I saw the YM getting ready to test the high. Watch. I'm going to shrink my chart. There's the high. We have a reverse continue. It simply puts on a market order, and the data didn't work. It didn't work. It froze. Not only did it freeze, it never unfroze. It never
Some
unfroze.
comments from Feds Bowman.
It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. All right? Tradeovate was out for a whole, had their problems last week. It's not Bullinox. And it's not that Tradeovate doesn't have problems, Lena. Tradeovate didn't work last week. It's an issue with data in general in prop trading. And it's a secret. Nobody wants to talk about it, and nobody will take responsibility. I agree. They do seem to have less problems than Rhythmic. Rhythmic, from a data standpoint, seems to have way more problems than Tradeovate. At least that's what people tell me. I have not had a Tradeovate account for a while. Rhythmic has been a mess. It's been a mess. It's been a mess. Now, our trader,
Walmart surpasses $1 trillion in market
I don't
value
seem
for
to
first
have
time.
any positions open in our trader. So that data gave me $1,000 winning trade instead of maybe a $200 winning trade is what it should have been. It should have been, a $200 winning trade. That's what our setup was. It put orders on. I didn't know that the orders got filled eventually. They didn't actually get filled eventually. What happened was I reset my Ninja, I had to shut down using the task manager, came back, saw I was in a trade still, closed out the trade. Now, how in our trader can you cancel any open orders? Somebody tell me how to cancel any open orders in our trader, because I am an ignorant R trader user. That's the truth. I don't trade in our trader. We use it to look at our account balances and in an emergency. And when I check orders open, I didn't see any open orders yesterday. When I check under positions, I don't see any open positions. All right. There's no prices moving. But there must be a simple way in our trader to cancel any open orders or any orders that are filled and working. So in other words, cancel working orders, cancel orders that are waiting to be filled, right? Well, that's a working order, I suppose. But I don't see any open orders in our trader. But on that YM, I mean, what can you say? That's crazy. That's welcome to crazy town. right? Welcome to Crazy Town. It's absolutely nuts. So let me go to my open positions window. So the thing about RTrader, it is so convoluted and such a miserable platform to use. Could they have picked a worse platform to use also? It's intolerable. It's intolerable to use. It's just, I don't think I've ever seen a less user-friendly platform. I mean, it's 2026, people, right? So I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. When you trade certain times a day, you're taking the chance that there's going to be frozen orders, and it's very, very frustrating. Very, very frustrating. There's nothing else you can say. Nothing. And if you close everything in
Comments
Ninja,
from Fed's Barkin says, look
it
forward to
doesn't
working with you,
count
Fed Chair. Concerned about both inflation
because
and
they will
employment.
not support
Productivity
that
question is different from the
as being a
1990
valid
scenario.
way.
Barkin says, I see
Cancel all
encouraging signs in
orders,
demand and GDP numbers.
flatten
Also
everything.
noting resilience
That
amongst firms,
doesn't count
not re-acceleration though.
because
So Fed's Barkin
it
currently
just
speaking with
doesn't.
reporters following
All
May's
right?
event earlier this morning.
It just doesn't. Um, Tell me that again, Calvin. So if I want to go to RTrader, go to orders. Your tick plays won't load. So go to which choice. Which choice is what I'm asking. So if I want to see if I have any open orders, normally I'll look in positions. I don't see anything functioning in positions. Okay? I don't see anything. Recent orders. Okay? I don't see any orders functioning, right? There's no P&L moving. There don't seem to be any working orders. It's all completed orders. Okay? All completed orders. So our YM seems to have been filled. All orders, yes. David, all orders are closed. That's what I did yesterday. And they terminated my master account. I did not see any orders functioning. Now, for folks that want to know how you can tell if your account is close to being liquidated, there's an auto liquidate value, auto liquidate threshold, and you could just move it all to the left so you don't have to spread the idiotic chart so wide. And then you can check your account and see what the auto liquidate price is. If your account gets to this level, it will be liquidated. Okay? That's how you can tell. Because remember, in some of the accounts, if you're making money, that threshold goes up. It goes up. It doesn't stay the same. That's fine. That's a rule. That's fine. No problem. Some of the rules are very fair. If you make money, your auto liquidate moves up, your trailing drawdown, whatever they want to call it, right? I definitely made $1,000 on that trade. There's no question I made $1,000 on that trade. It's not a funded account. It was an eval. It's an eval. I'll take it, but it's still unbelievably annoying. It is unbelievably annoying because I just wanted my regular trade to work so I could see if my analysis was good, etc., etc. Really. Okay. All right. So there is no jolts this morning. Just out of curiosity, let's look at the calendar and see what shows up on the calendar. If they mention one more time, if anybody mentions one more time that Kamala Harris should be even remotely considered to be a presidential candidate, we are worse than doomed. I can't think of anyone that anyone would want less. And that's the other problem in this country. Our media is disgusting. The legacy media does not exist as true media anymore. You cannot trust them for anything whatsoever. They're a disgrace. They are not media. They are talking heads. Talking heads. They are still showing that Jolts is coming out. It's not. Jolts is not being released. Now, so one thing you can check. John asked a good question. Is the freezing because of the prop trade networks? So what do you think the reason for the freezing is? Personally, what I think is just overloading of people, too many people using data that servers that just can't support the load of use. John, that's what I think. That's what I think. But they don't talk about it. They won't discuss it. They won't talk about making it better. It's sort of like something that isn't talked about except in a help ticket, right? Yeah, and you've got trading copiers, the whole systematic, the way that people use the system lends itself towards not having enough server space to support the data. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong that you should use copiers, you shouldn't use copiers. I mean, there are some, mentors out there that their whole raison d'etre, however you pronounce that, the reason they exist is to use 30 prop accounts using trade copiers, right? Yeah, John, I think very simply it's just too many people trying to use too little data. I think it's just that simple. I think it's just that simple. Too many people, right? Lena says Tradevate is much better, Rhythmic is crap. Unfortunately, Bullinox does not offer Tradevate. Um, High frequency trading is what messes up platforms. There's so many reasons. So many reasons. Um, you have to, if you're going to trade right at the open, it is just another risk you have to accept. If you're going to do it, you have to accept it. I accept it. It doesn't make it any less annoying or aggravating. And I don't want to make $1,000 on a stupid trade out of random idiocy. I mean, I'm happy to take it, of course, but it's random idiocy. And that's not what trading is supposed to be, right? Yeah, Lena, after a while, the effort becomes so convoluted that, how much time can you take, right? How much time can you take doing stuff? What Lena is saying is I can get a Tradeovate account with a different funding firm, use it as my primary data source, and connect it to Bullinox. So I don't know how to do that. I mean, I haven't spent time doing that. So it's something else I have to spend time wasting time on because regular data that they say should work doesn't work, right? So Lena, send me a link that explains how to do that, and I'll take a look at it if you get a chance. Send me a link. Here's our email. Help at 10minutetrades.com. Right, it might be very simple. I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to do it. I'm not embarrassed to say I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to do everything. It doesn't change the fact that it's frustrating to have to even think about it though. And I have my Ninja connected to multiple brokers, but it means you have to buy another different prop account, right? I would use Apex, but Apex doesn't take Amex, and that's a real pain. They don't take American Express. That's absurd. Otherwise, I would use Apex more. And we have to use Ninja, obviously, because we have software that we use for trading. So for us, it has to be a prop account that supports Ninja. We absolutely want to use our software. All right, folks. So, TJ, it is PTF 89. PTF 89 is the discount code. Pretty much most of the time with Bullinox, if they say they're having like a 91% discount, then they do PTF 91. If they say they're having an 80% discount, they do PTF 80. So you can always try the code PTF and the percent of the discount that you've heard they're having and see if it works. And there are many things I like about Bullinox. They have great tech support. They have absolutely great tech support. All right, everybody. So let's see, can we get a definitive test on the JOLTS report? So my first question about JOLTS would be, is JOLTS report released through BLS?
US ratchets up pressure on Iraq over the Prime Minister.
So it is part of the Bureau of Labor
The standoff between the White
Statistics,
House and Iraqi
and that
politicians
is the problem
over who
today.
should be the Arab
Okay?
country's next prime minister
The
is worsening,
BLS
according to
is
several
part of the
people,
government
with the rift
shutdown.
threatening to destabilize the OPEC member. In recent days, Washington told Iraqi officials that it would reduce the country's access to oil export revenues if it appointed Maliki, seen by the US as too close to Iran, as premier, said the people who asked not to be identified discussing private talks.
Due to a partial U.S. federal government shutdown, the Bureau of Labor Statistics has suspended data dissemination, including JOLTS, not being published today. Okay? According to Chat GPT. All right? Does anybody have any other questions that they would like me to answer? Let's look at our schedule one more time. And we will be back at 3:30 for the end of the day trade, all right? And AMD earnings. AMD earnings are 4:15. In general, let me see if I have any extra notes yet on AMD. I may not. I got to go through my AMD research. James, that's really bad luck. You had bad luck yesterday also. So here's what Lena is saying. James, we'll have to figure out together how to do this. We'll get a prop account that uses Tradevate, and we'll use Tradevate as the data. We'll try it and get away from Rhythmic. It's probably time to get away from Rhythmic. So I'll try and make it a job to do over the next day or two. If anybody wants to email me the exact process, I would have thought that that would bypass Rhythmic. You're not, there's no jolts. No jolts. They say there's no jolts. And it's not on Financial Juice's website, Calvin. There's normally a move at 10 in the markets. I think the markets have just been selling off since the open, honestly. I'm looking to see if there's any news. I'm not really seeing anything special about the news. Honest, not seeing anything special. That's the NQ. The YM, just for fun, if we look at investing.com, the calendar, there's no JOLTS data. There's no JOLTS data. And we're well after 10. Well after 10. There was some sort of a optimism report, but that looks like it was positive, not negative. I don't think that, and it came out early. I don't think it was that. So I don't think it was traditional news related, Calvin. not traditional news related, whatever happened. Lena, what were you saying? You're going to have to give what a try. You're going to have to give what a try. Oh, David was saying it. I think David was saying it. Got it. Got it. All right, folks. So we'll be back at 3:30. We will be back at 3:30, and I'll do a deep dive on AMD before the trade, and we'll do the end of the day trade. Everybody. So James, don't get discouraged. We'll figure out a solution. All right. You're saying you're using CQG data for your charts. But I do believe that when you're but don't you have multiple logins, James? In other words, in our connections, we have a Ninja connection and we have a Bullinox connection. If I'm trading cash, I'm not using Tradeovate, right? If I have a Tradeovate account, I'm using Ninja brokerage cash data because it's a multi-brokerage account. So if I'm trading Bullinox, I would think I would be trading with the Rhythmic data because it's the Rhythmic connection that gives me the data on my Bullinox charts. I'm gonna see if I'm gonna try to get to the bottom. Tradeovate uses CQG. Is that so? Okay. Someone on Lena's saying that Tradeovate uses CQG. I'll see if we can get to the bottom of the best way to connect. But this is my point. It's not 5 minutes to figure it out. It's just not. It's going to take some time. I mean, we love prop because we don't risk our own cash. That's why people love prop. But also, there is nothing better in the world than having $1,000 cash profit on a trade, right? Ninja Trader is Continuum, I believe. CQG Continuum.
US stocks extendable with the Nasdaq down at 1%.
There is no better feeling than having $1,000 winning cash trade. Those were the best days. But it's much, there's a lot to be said for learning how to trade without blowing up cash accounts. That's the truth. All right, folks. Yes, and of course, if you do well in your prop accounts, you're going to wind up with a live cash account. That's what you're looking for. That's what you're looking for, right? Although, David, I don't think everybody gives you live cash. I don't think everyone does. Depends on the company. It does depend on the company. But I think you have to follow a certain rule set, and that rule set has to take into account obviously the time of day that you're trading. And if you're trading exactly at a market open, you've got to sometimes realize orders might freeze. So you have to decide, do you want to trade that time of day? Do orders freeze so often that that time of day is not worth trading? All right. So what people are saying is get a prop account that supports Tradevate and link that data to your Bullinox account. That's what Lena is saying, apparently, right? Right. And then the data fees go up. That's true. Yeah, James, there's nothing worse than having a losing trade, prop or not. There's nothing that feels worse than having a losing trade. What is it? That, trading the way that we trade, because we trade so often, you get used to losing trades in a way that many other systems you don't. But still, there is nothing that is worse than having a losing trade. There's nothing that feels worse. So what Lena is saying, connect your other prop first in Ninja. So Lena, if that is true, then you wouldn't have to sign up, you wouldn't have to sign in to your Bullinox data account. Is that correct? Do you follow what I'm saying? If that's true? Yes, me too, TJ. TJ, that's what I'm looking for. I want a printed, just a simple printed methodology to do it. That's what I want,
The US
is just
plans
a
to issue a
simple
license for
printed
companies to
methodology.
pump Venezuelan oil.
I'm not asking for that much. That's not asking a lot. Seriously. I just want a method printed out. So I'll try to find it, how to
IBM
do
shares
it
down
specifically
6.3%
so we
on
can
pace
do
for
it.
its biggest single-day drop in 6 months.
James, quite a few people trade with a
Moreover, the
VPS.
US government is preparing to issue a general license allowing
I
companies
think
to
we
pump
get less
oil in Venezuela,
VPS
part of the
now that
Trump
people don't
administration's
trade
plan to
with
ease
cash
sanctions
very
and
much.
rebuild the nation's moribund energy industry. The new license could be issued by the Treasury Department as soon as this week, according to people familiar with the matter, who are hard to be
VPS
identified.
was much, much more popular when people were trading cash. Also, VPS, it seems to me, was much more popular when internet speeds were so much slower also. As internet speeds have gotten faster, as technology has gotten faster, VPS has become less necessary for many people. Not unnecessary, just less necessary. So, what's the best prop firm that uses Tradeovate and Ninja? So, that's our first question. What's the best
So major
prop
builders
firm
set away a plan
using
for 1 million
Tradeovate
quote unquote Trump homes.
and Ninja Trader? So, that's something we need to know. Some people might say Apex. And James, I know exactly what you're saying. Sometimes it's a nanosecond that can cause a trade to blow up. It could be a nanosecond of difference that could ruin a trade. You know how you can see it? You can see nanoseconds on a one range chart. On the NQ, because the NQ moves so fast, it's hard to use a one range. But if you look at the ES, for instance, on a one range chart, instead of minute, range one, every nanosecond tick shows up on the chart. If you ever want to analyze a trade, especially in cash, you can see every tick on a one range. You see all the movement that you can't see with the naked eye. A five range, it's much more data. A one range is much more data than a 1 second chart. A five range on the NQ is probably more viable to analyze trades. It's just so much movement on a one range. It's hard to keep track of the data. But on the ES, you can actually use a one range. We used to be able to use a one range on gold also. It just lets you see every tick. So if you get stopped out and you think you shouldn't have been stopped out, when you go to a one range, because you could see every tick of movement, you can see why a trade might not have worked when you thought it did work on a longer time frame. It's actually quite a bit more data than a 1 second chart. All right, I'm going to find out, I guess, what we have to do and how we have to do it regarding data. All right. And if anybody has any suggestions about what company they like, companies, I suppose Apex comes into the fold. Apex is a little bit tougher with their rules. That's one reason I'm not a big Apex user. They are this one of the stricter prop companies for payouts. Thank you, Lena. I really appreciate it. Um, yeah, people have been mentioning Lucid a lot lately. People have been mentioning Lucid. One of our members likes them. Haven't really looked into Tradeify. TPT is Take Profit Trader. You know, one of the reasons people gravitate to Apex and Bullinox is if you don't pass the eval, it's very inexpensive to try again the next month. That's the nice thing about Bullinox and Apex. They always have great sales. And that is a factor for some people, right? And it's if you like having a lot of accounts, they're reasonable. All right, everyone. I'll see everybody back here at 3:30. Lena, thank you very much for your help. Lucid's a one-time payment. Okay. All right. We're going to have to do a little research. That's all. Have to do a little looking. All right. So thanks, everyone. We're going to get out of here. Going to close our stream. Thank you, everybody. And I'll see everybody later. See everybody at 3:30. Okay? Let me close our stream. Thanks, everyone on YouTube. Really appreciate the conversation on YouTube. David and Beard, Lena, thank you. So I'll see you all tomorrow.